The mission of the Project Ready Historical and Cultural Literacy Program is to empower students through the development of research and presentation skills to want to investigate and think critically about the events of the past 100 plus years as a way to help foster their intellectual and creative engagement with the present as well as the future.
The purpose of the Civil Rights Trip this year in 2025 was to bring the classroom to life for students. We took about 19 students on this trip, and the purpose was really just to immerse them in this rich history in Selma, Montgomery, Tuskegee, and Atlanta. A living history of the civil rights movement, racial justice, education, and most importantly, Black excellence. In Selma, we had the opportunity to walk those same roads and cross the same bridge as those that face violence and oppression, fighting for voting rights and equality. Through the visit at Tuskegee and Alabama State University and meeting the first Black mayor of Montgomery, Stephen Reed, we saw how education and leadership continue to drive progress. Their voices pointed not only to the future, but highlighted the strength of the legacy of those that went before them. During our time at the Legacy Museum, we had the opportunity to really face the painful truth of the racial terror and the effects of systematic racism, a system that started as early as slavery and continues on now through the prison system. But it was also a really reflective time to see how we as a people evolved and transformed into something beautiful in the harshest conditions.
The site that impacted me the most deeply was the Legacy Museum. It filled in all the gaps and the questions that I had, because when I had learned about slavery before, it was above surface and they didn't go into detail when teaching us about it. It was overwhelming in both a really good and sad way.
I guess I just didn't realize how intense it really was until I heard it from someone first person. The artwork was really intense.
There was a section of the Legacy Museum where they had phone calls, like the cell phones. Hold the phone and it would talk to you about different people's stories. They got locked up and what they did, but they didn't really do it.
The Baptist church, because just hearing those little girls' stories about how I'm pretty sure they were playing and they were with their family members, and then out of nowhere they received the call. Their lives were sadly taken away, and those were people's sisters, daughters.
Definitely challenged. I learned more about Rosa Parks than I ever did in school. Honestly, Rosa Parks was just one of those Black figures who were known but wasn't really talked about. Her background wasn't talked about as much throughout school. Learning more about her, learning about her character, learning about what she did and how she grew up was nice.
Some of the things that I thought were common knowledge about slavery and about what the civil rights era were, because there were things that I learned growing up and it was so important. Black History Month was such an important month for us, and all the things that we learned, I just started to realize that the kids don't know as much as we do, and it's not their fault, it's ours.
I wasn't aware that it doesn't end when slavery ended, but it goes on to incarceration and how it was set up. It is slavery, but in a different form.
I think what stood out to me was how enslaved people were compared or seen as animals by their captors.
2 million people died during the Atlantic slave trade coming from Africa to Northern America. 2 million people died during that process, either through suicide or starvation or being killed on those boats. That impacted me because, most of the people here, our ancestors, had endured all of that pain, they stayed strong and they continued to fight, and now we're here today and we're living on their legacy.
It was just really shocking how slaves at any time could be exploited by their enslavers by raping or killing.
It just made me realize the slave owners, they didn't care. That impacted me because I know it would be hard for me to not see my family.
So we know about all these different things, but just about how slavery kind of relates to school to prison pipeline kind of had me question about the different things that we're learning in school and stuff. And like, should I even really be paying attention in class? Because like, I feel like maybe they're just like sugarcoating it.
It taught me about how like emancipation wasn't like complete emancipation, and I didn't know that before, and they don't really teach us that here.
Miss Ashley did a workshop that talked about Urban League's history and Seattle, Washington's civil rights era. We learned that there was still a lot of racism in Washington, like redlining and segregation still happening. Redlining was basically a border that told people that they can only live here and work and only do certain things in this area, and outside of that area, they weren't allowed to do anything. It's basically systemic racism.
For our youth, it's important to understand the significance to Black history behind the places we walk by every day. The Medgar Evers Pool isn't just a place to swim. It honors a civil rights leader who stood for justice and paid the ultimate price. The Douglas Truth Library carries the name of two powerful voices who fought for freedom, education, and equality. And the William Gross Center reminds us of one of Seattle's first Black pioneers, whose leadership helped build opportunity in this city. All of these landmarks are located right here in Seattle's Central District, a neighborhood rich with Black history, culture, and resilience. When our youth know these stories, they don't just see buildings, they see themselves in the legacy.
A way we can honor the people we learned about is by not going backwards and by moving forward. Just keep pushing for equality.
I think we can honor them by keeping their name alive, not letting anything like that repeat itself.
Medgar Evers, a lot of people don't even know who he is. I had to learn who he was, so I didn't know he was a civil rights activist.
We should carry on that knowledge in schools over here in like the West, so we can all better further our knowledge.
I feel inspired to take action for myself and other people in a more non-violent manner, try to talk things out.
To just always speak up for what I believe in.
Tell my friends, and it also inspired me to definitely keep on furthering my knowledge, because it's definitely beyond that trip that I can learn.
Using my knowledge, and that would be by teaching it to other people, writing about it, and I think even trying to do something about it, like even how I've learned like how essential voting is.
This trip not only was significant for the students, but also just significant for the Urban League as we are celebrating 95 years of being in service to the community, and just being able to see how this work from 1930 until now is still relevant for Black and Brown communities in Seattle and nationwide. I really want our youth to know that they have a voice, and that we were not just slaves, but we were pioneers, we were carpenters, we were inventors, and we need them to be able to see the excellence and not just the struggle.
Urban League, thank you for giving me this opportunity to go on the civil rights trip.
Thank you, Urban League, for providing this trip. It was very amazing.
For more information about Project Ready, please visit urbanleague.org.